Porsche Panamera. A guide to entering the pit is given to you. The entry guide has been published for 20 issues so far. Every issue, some friends send me private messages. Request to speak about a phase of Pame. It's not that I don't want to say. It's just that Pammy's car is in such bad condition. The model is special and not very stable. I'll talk more about that later. Also, I want to tell you something. There are indeed too many private messages during this time. I really can't come back. I apologize to everyone. This is Porsche's most unique model. It does not have as rich historical heritage as 911. There is no Macan again, Cayenne-like convenient daily maintenance, but it was developed independently. This creates an uncontrollable cost of playing with cars. And even now the latest, this platform of Panamera, both are Bentleys. Lamborghini is using. So what? The bloodline of Panamera is very noble. There are 3 generations of Pameni models so far. 1016 models are the first generation. Chassis code 970. The 14th model was midterm modified. Code 970 to 17 to 23 is the second generation. Code 970.2, 17 to 23 is the second generation. Chassis code 971. The 21st model was midterm modified and codenamed 971. The 24th model is the third generation codenamed 972, which is currently on sale. The first generation of Pameni was sold between 2010 and 2016. I recommend buying the 14 model GTS 4.8 self-priming model. It would be best if you can find it. If you can't find it, you can also buy the 3.0T. What about general sailing around 34,000 USD? What about the 1013 model? I don't recommend any 970.1 models. The power of 970 is 3.6 self-priming, 4.8 self-priming, 3.0T hybrid, 4.8T twin turbo. The 3.6 engine is not the same as the 3.6 in the Cayenne. The Cayenne is Volkswagen Group's 3.6 VR6, and this one from Panamera is a 3.6 V6 developed by Porsche. If someone gives it to you again, just raise the bar and let him see the page agency. VR6 works in a similar way to a dry inline engine. What about 6 cylinders sharing a set of cylinder heads? So you can't see the cylinders on either side. The 3.6 is a traditional V6 layout. You can see the complete valve chamber and cylinder block on the left and right sides. However, precisely because this engine was developed by Porsche, no model is in use. So daily maintenance is not cheap. If your car is not in good condition, you will encounter a thermostat leak in this engine, U-shaped pipe leaks, front pass cover oil leakage, valve chamber cover leakage, timing baffle fragmentation, carbon can solenoid valve failure, ignition coil failure, oil pump failure. Even if you're lucky, you have not encountered the above failure. But 10 years have passed. It's time to double. So for your wallet, 3.6, I don't really touch this engine. What about the 4.8T twin turbo? I don't recommend it either. Maintenance costs are too high, and Porsche's self-developed twin turbine engine will have a serious problem of turbine oil leakage after it functions vigorously. But the turbines sit on either side of the cylinders, not at the top of most twin turbo engines. So replacing the turbine can only increase the price. Engine wages are high. The original turbine costs more than 2,700 USD, so it's not rich, let's save it. Don't even mention the 3.0T hybrid. E837 with hybrid is not a worry-free combination. And I always recommend all the older hybrids I don't recommend buying. Because as long as it involves electrical parts, maintenance is really time-consuming and laborious. And hybrid technology is updating too fast. Are you really sure that a 10-year-old hybrid technology is mature and reliable? What about the 970.2 powertrain starting from the 4th model? Cancel 326 self-priming and 3.0 hybrid. Among them, I most recommend the 4.8 version. The stability of this large displacement. Self-priming is considered a pass in the entire first generation of Pame. Unfortunately, there are too few car sources. What about the 3.0T engine, also developed by Porsche? It is still not the same as the 3.0T on the Cayenne. Compared with the initial 3.6, the quality of this 3.0 has improved a little bit. Although there will be some failures, oil leaks, water leaks, etc., at least the durability of the surrounding reconstruction has been improved to a certain extent. But this engine must pay attention to fuel quality. It is best to feed with a bar for a long time. If the 3.0 machine can't beat the series, it is still easier to pull the cylinder, so it must be carefully maintained. Let me summarize. Going back to the beginning, the 970 generation of Pame I mentioned is really not suitable for playing with. It takes careful selection to find a similar one, and even if the car is in good condition, you can't avoid the empty suspension in the chassis parts. If you must play, you can start with 14 models. Is the word loud? If you encounter a bad car condition, except for engine preparation, you're going to have air leaks, AIR pump damaged, upper and lower swing arm, rubber sleeve aging connecting rod flat rod bushing aging, machine foot aging, transmission flywheel ring gear sensor failure air conditioner compressor failure, cracked headlights and taillights, which sounds like a lot of old German luxury cars would have, but I'm afraid there is no magic. Even if you change all these, it will still break after a while. Yes, you heard me right. He will be bad. The first generation was afraid of beauty, which really belonged to the kind that could not be cured and could not be used. Of course, there are no absolutes. There must be some luck, friends who need less maintenance. You don't have to rush to refute me. It's okay. Take a stroll through your local Porsche shop. You understand everything? The 17th model starts, which is the second generation Panamera. The sale time is 70 to 23 years. I recommend buying 17 Basic 3.0T. The general market price is about 68,000 USD. Compared with the first generation, the quality of the second generation, Palmy has already leapfrogged. So if the budget is high, 2.9T and 4.0T can also be bought. However, considering the cost performance, the 17 Basic 3.0T is still recommended. The second generation Palmetto powertrain is replaced by 3.0T and 2.9T of the same Audi EA839 and the EA825 4.0T of the high-end model. I recommend the 3.0T because it is the cheapest Palmy in the entire second generation. But the three major pieces are not lost at all to 2.9T. 3.0T and 2.9T belong to the EA839 series. The 3.0T is a medium turbine. 2.9T is two small turbines. But for later upgrades, the 3.0T is more likely to produce results. First of all, 3.0T is air-cooled heat dissipation. You only need to increase the area of the intermediate cooling period to complete the cooling of the recent temperature. And 2.9T water-cooled structure. The cooling system of the entire waterway is very complex, and it is bound to the ECU program. Therefore, the cost of later upgrades is much higher than 3.0T. Of course, if there is no more money, then 2.9 must be higher online. What about the in-cylinder layer that can withstand more friction? A thicker crankshaft can also withstand more torque. As for water cooling, as long as the upgrade is in place, the intake air temperature can also be well controlled. But the overall cost is much higher than the 3.0T, so you can often see the very promising 3.0 Audi S4 in domestic 04 competitions. But few fast 2.9T Audi RS4, so for most people, 3.0T is the most balanced choice for performance and cost performance. The most cost-effective choice. Back to business. It is precisely because of the convenience of upgrading this 3.0 to the second generation 3.0T. Palm, you only need a simple upgrade to get a chariot that is no less powerful than the original Panamera 4S. It can also save a lot of budget. Isn't it the maximization of cost performance? If there is a demand for appearance, you can add a small tens of thousands to directly upgrade to the appearance of 971.2 without damage and arrange it for you directly through the taillight. You can use the budget of the cheapest second generation Palmy in 17 years to make a fake 21 models. The price-performance ratio is overwhelming. To sum up, For the first generation of Pamela, you can choose 14 models. You can choose 17 styles for the second generation Palmy. In addition, when you buy the original Palme, you must buy the one with fewer transfers. Because in many cities, Palmy exists as a wedding car or a rental model. So what about his condition? As you can imagine, if you can encounter the first car in excellent condition, Pam can also enter. But remember, be sure to buy the one with very few transfers or full records. The kind that has been there 4 or 5 times, 7 or 8 households. You just can't consider it.